You knew the Iowa Hawkeyes were good this season, but I bet you didn't know that they were this good. The Iowa Hawkeyes came out to dominate Nebraska by a score of 31-6. I mean, they absolutely showed up to this duel, and they actually did it without some of their guys in the lineup, which I'll get to in just a second. Now, they beat them by a score of 31-6, which is pretty darn close to what I thought. I actually said the score was going to be 29-6, but I did get a couple of matches wrong. I wasn't sure what was going to go right or wrong with some of these toss-ups, especially like with Max Murin. I thought that was kind of a toss-up match, and really it ultimately did end up being a toss-up match, but Iowa won most of the duels that they were expected to win in, and by a lot of them, they won by big points. Now, it's one of the guys we didn't see wrestle in the duel was Michael Kemerer. We didn't see him wrestle in the duel at 174 pounds. We also didn't see Abe Assad wrestle. Instead, we saw Nelson Brands, and I'll get to each of these matches as we go through this lineup. But we have to start out at 125 pounds with Spencer Lee. Spencer Lee came out strong with the fall. The first match of the season, pinning top 11 ranked wrestler in Liam Cronin, beat him in the first period, pinned him in a bar. Spencer Lee is somebody who I will not say this about any other wrestler, but Spencer Lee, I think, can pin or tech or major every single one of his opponents this season. I fully expect him to win by bonus points every single match. I do. I mean, he may, I don't think he's going to have any close matches. I think he's going to walk straight to that NCAA title. We'll see if anybody proves me wrong, but he came out ready to wrestle in the first duel of the season. The other guy who came out ready to wrestle was Austin DeSanto. Now, I thought he was going to win this match at 133, but he ended up teching Alex Thompson, beat him by a score of 21-6. He came out with a takedown and tilt in the first period. It was working and riding him on top. In the second period, it was takedown. I mean, DeSanto was just showing his strong pace, and in that clip right there, you can see that DeSanto was just kind of toying around with Thompson. He was, it's the typical DeSanto antics that some people don't like, but I kind of have fun with. I enjoy watching Austin DeSanto wrestle. I really do, because he's just had such a high pace, just takedown, and he hit it all on Alex Thompson to just pull out. Hawkeyes were up 11-0 right off the start of the duel. At 141 pounds, we got to see the debut of Jayden Eierman in an Iowa singlet. So transfer from Mizzou, now he's at Iowa, beat number 7 Chad Red by a score of 8-4. Red was actually the one who shot in first, and Red was actually, to be honest with you, Red was the aggressor most of this match. Now he shot in on a double leg and got a takedown right off the bat. It was up to start off the match. But in the second period, kind of what started happening was Red was the one who was shooting in, but Eierman was just able to defend those shots from kind of here on out, able to adapt and get in on that. He actually caught Chad Red, who he came across and caught him in a cradle, locked it up for 2 and back points. Chad Red in the third period again shot in, but Eierman was able to defend and get behind for 2. His first win as an Iowa Hawkeye, won by a score of 8-4. Chad Red, I like to see him make those changes and finish some of those shots, but Eierman is just, he's tough, man. He's a tough guy to beat. At 149, with Jayden Eierman at 41, Max Murin, who was at 41 for the Hawkeyes last year, had to bump up. He wrestled Brock Hardy in a tough match, 6-2. This is one of the toss-ups. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, just because, Max Murin is more proven than Brock Hardy, who came in. He beat Michael Blockus last week, made a huge debut. But Max Murin is, he kind of grew into 149, I think is the big thing, is that in the offseason, he was able to grow into 149. He had the time to do that. These two, they had a match. It was 2-2 actually heading into the third period when Murin was able to secure a final takedown. And it was a fight the whole time. Murin was just able to get to the legs, and Hardy just wasn't able to defend that. So if we see Hardy now being able to defend some of those shots, maybe we'll see a different story later on in the season. At 157, and Iowa is up big here, right? They're up big here. Caleb Young defeated Caleb Licking he beat him by a tight score. And it's a rough Big Ten for Caleb Young, but he's coming back into the season, turning over a new leaf, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. Now, at 165, another returner is Alex Minarelli, top 2 ranked wrestler, defeated a top 20 ranked guy in Peyton Robb by a score of 9-3. Now, Robb, at the beginning of this match, actually, Rob was the one to get in on a shot on Alex Marinelli and almost had the takedown, but he kind of like mangled up Alex Marinelli's leg, which I was like real nervous about at first. Like it looked like it was real mangled up, but didn't end up getting the takedown on the edge of the mat, which was probably the right call, but pretty darn close, I'll be honest with you. But it wasn't a takedown that really would have mattered. Marinelli was able to get two later on off of one of the most smooth shots that I have seen. And actually one of my favorite things is as I was watching the videos of the matches and the full duel itself, you heard the announcer just go, "Oh, that looks sweet." He would just stop mid-sentence. "Oh, that was sweet." And I just love watching that. Most of the matches are over on the Big Ten Network YouTube channel. I have everything linked up down in the description below, but you can check out those matches for yourself on YouTube. And Marinelli was ultimately able to get a couple more takedowns. And although it was a close score, 9-3, it really wasn't a close match. Alex Marinelli did dominate and was just so much more powerful than Peyton Robb. Had some powerful takedowns and just racked up that riding time. At 174, unfortunately, we did not get to see the Labriola and Kemerer match due to whatever reason. Now, Labriola, top 4 ranked guy, wrestled against Patrick Kennedy, who's a new wrestler for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Labriola won by a score of 7-4. Now, even without Kemerer, which is unfortunate, we did get to see what Kennedy would be bringing to the Iowa Hawkeyes in the future. It was a close match, with that 7-4 score, but Labriola just kept getting in on Kennedy's legs, wasn't able to defend that, and, ultimately, as a younger wrestler, Labriola was the better guy, and that was one of Nebraska's best guys, so that's even a match that would have been tight against Michael Kemerer, and so that's kind of where we are with that. As far as 184, we got the debut of Nelson Brands instead of Abe Assad. So these two kind of went back and forth last season, or end up with Abe Assad, but we weren't sure what was going to happen with these guys. He ended up majoring Taylor Venz, beating him by a score of 13-5. This was a great showing for Nelson Brands, and we may see Abe Assad interchange here, but with a win like that over number 7 Venz, impressive. Our questions were answered as far as the lineup was concerned, and Brands was able to get on the first takedown and just constantly scoring off of reattacks on Taylor Venz. It was kind of what happened. I think the great thing about Brands that I saw, every time the Venz shot in, Brands was able to get his hips back, kind of get his head on his hand, just get that go behind, on most of those shots, which is solid to see from him. Brands was up 10-4, and Brands ended up getting the major decision at the end of the match whenever Coach Brands told Nelson to cut him at the end of the match when he was up 10-4, and ended up getting one more takedown to secure the 13-5 victory. And just really, to be honest with you, he kind of broke Taylor Venz in the end, which I was not expecting to see that. Now, one of my favorite scoring positions, I'll be honest with you, came at 197 pounds, with Schultz beating Jacob Warner by a score of 3-2. It was 1-0 heading into the third period, so a very tight match. But ultimately, Schultz was able to get this. You saw that scoring position right there, just absolutely awesome to see the grit, the true grit, and Schultz able to come around from behind kind of on that spin, which I just really enjoyed seeing that. So a solid win for him in Nebraska's second win of the night. There are only 2 wins of the night, because the last win ultimately was for the Iowa Hawkeyes that came at 285 pounds, with Cassie Opie winning by a score of 4-0. Not a very eventful match. He finished with a takedown in the first period, and then 3 minutes of riding time and an escape to get that 4-0 decision, but not a really exciting match. The duel overall, though, I really enjoyed watching that, and please let me know in the comments, what did you think? And if you are a first time here watching this video, please let me know what you thought of the match, as well as make sure to subscribe to the Fanco Wrestling YouTube channel so you can continuously get these updates throughout the wrestling season.